listening to the Hall of Fame. Here's Booker T and Brad Gilmore.
Welcome inside the Hall of Fame. I'm Booker T, 6-time world champ, 2-time Hall of Fame. I got my man Brad Gilmore here with me. As always, man, we getting ready to roll, man. I'm feeling good. Coming off of a hell of a week of NXT, man. I hope you guys watched NXT this week, man, because it was good, man. It was real good. Had a whole lot of fun calling the action. And then the one person, man, that's on the rise is Tiffany Stratton. We'll talk about her later, man. But we coming to you from ESPN 97.5, 92.5. As always, man, doing it like it's supposed to be done. Giving you your champagne wishes and caviar treat. I talk like this after 8 hours of sleep, man. I feel like everything is just clicking. But how you doing, Doug? How you feel?
Man, those 8 hours, those are rarities for you and me really nowadays, man.
I had 8 hours of sleep last week, man, going into NXT, and I swear, man, I can't believe how much better I feel after having 8 hours of sleep, being able to, I can talk.
Pretty incredible how that works, huh?
I can talk after I've had 8 hours of sleep. And I can tell when, I've had 3 hours of sleep. It's like I'm mumbling and bumbling. It's like, man, who is this guy? But no, man, I'm happy to be here on another round, man. Another round of Hall of Fame action.
Yes, sir. And we're also coming off of I'd say a banner weekend for us at Reality Wrestling, right? We had one of the best shows I can remember in quite some time. I remember there's been certain shows over the years that have stuck out, but this one to me is one of the all-timers, in all honesty. I think it's one of the all-timers as far as from top to bottom, all killer, no filler.
Give those guys a lot of props, man. Give those young guys a lot of props. They went out there and executed. And that's what I always talk about, going out and just being able to execute. Do what you do well and do that only. You do that, man, you can actually make yourself look real good if you go out there and do stuff that you don't practice. Stuff that you got to think about. You know what I mean? And so for me, that show was one of those deals to where the young guys got a chance to shine. Everybody learned from that experience, and now we grow. We grow from that experience to the next one, and the next show got to be even better than that one. That's the way I look at it. Every show got to be bigger and better than the last, so I'm looking forward to Reality Wrestling next month.
It's going to be incredible, and why don't you just let the people know, there was a lot of matches of the evening. There was a lot of great stuff, but talk about Ivy Nile, Promise Braxton, right? We had Ivy Nile from NXT down at the Reality of Wrestling. First of all, what a great person. I enjoyed having her around. I enjoyed talking to her, getting to know her a little bit. And was such a team player for everything that we were about and we were doing at the Reality of Wrestling. And she came in and she was ready to help out in any way that she could. And I thought that was awesome. But her and Promise had a barn burner book.
And Promise Braxton is definitely somebody I'm looking forward to seeing make it to that next level. Can't wait to see her, just take that walk through that curtain for the first time, and to see that look on her face. I know she's going to be mean mugging because that's just the way she is. But for her to go out there and perform with the next level talent, like a NXT talent like Ivy Niles, it just shows me that she is ready, 100% ready to go. And that's what Reality of Wrestling is all about, getting guys, young girls in there to tune them up and get them ready for that next level, and then let them fly, man. Open that cage and just boom, let them fly. And right now, Promise Braxton is so close to flying. If you guys haven't checked out Promise Braxton, she's one of my young stars at Reality Wrestling. Go to YouTube, our YouTube channel, and pull up Promise Braxton and support Promise Braxton, because she is someone who's gone through the trenches in life, and now she has a chance to capture that American dream, man. And that is to, for me, was like going around the world and seeing it and doing it. I was like, oh my God, this is so awesome. So for me, I'm so proud of Promise. But there again, Ivy Niles coming down to Reality of Wrestling and showing up and showing out. And like you said, more important than anything, more important than just about anything, was her being such a team player and knowing what that part of the game was all about. So many in this business think about themselves so much. I said something last week when I was on Busted Open. This is a business where you can't be selfish enough to where you can't be selfless. You can't do it. Those two got to go together. You got to be very selfish and very selfless at the same exact time. So I appreciate what Ivy Niles did there.
Also want to give a big shout out to, and guys, I promise you I'm not overhyping this. One of, if not the best match, especially when tag teams are concerned, in reality wrestling history went on last Saturday. That fatal four-way between La Familia, Culture Inc., Fly Death, and The Heat was such a banger. And I cannot wait for the CW audience to see it here in Houston and for the YouTube audience to see it all over the world. That was one, Book. That was one. You only get so many of those in your career, and that was one of them. You know what I mean?
I tell you, man, those guys, that fatal four-way tag match, you talk about best in reality wrestling history. I'm gonna tell you right now, I'm not gonna put it in a WWE ring or AEW ring or anything like that. But as far as an independent wrestling ring, that was probably one of the best fatal four ways in the history of independent wrestling. And I'm not just saying that. Those guys went out there and put together a masterpiece and went out there and literally painted a Picasso. I give all of those guys so much credit, but more importantly, one of my originals, the Mysterious Q, for going out there and really being able to quarterback that thing and make it everybody that was a part of that thing, everybody looked great. Everybody had a role to play, and everybody went out there and played their role to the best of their ability. One kid who definitely got the game ball, 5-star, whatever you want to call it. That boy Eli Knight.
He's amazing.
If you guys haven't seen Eli Knight, he's another one of the young reality wrestling stars that's coming up. This dude is incredible. Young dude too, man. He's definitely going to be someone that's going to make it to that next level. And he's going to represent reality wrestling to the highest, man. So those guys, can't praise them enough. Can't praise that fatal four-way enough. Those guys went out there and rocked it. And my team, the Heat, and still reality wrestling.
Yeah. But I tell you what, Book, I mean, and what was cool about that match is it had a bigger vibe because everybody came out with somebody, right? The Heat comes out with Booker T, flanking them as their general counsel, if you will. You had La Familia. They came out with, of course, Charisma. And I believe Aiden Cristiano was there with him as well. And then you go to Culture Inc. had Nick J. Holiday, my guy, Nick J. Holiday. And, of course, Fly Death played to the ring by Stocks. It was just such a cool vibe. You know what I mean?
Yeah, man. It was awesome, man. Like you said, I can't wait for the Road Nation to get a chance to see that. And, guys, check out reality wrestling on YouTube. You will not be disappointed. I promise you that. We are the best thing going on the Gulf Coast and perhaps around the world as far as independent wrestling goes. We don't call ourselves independent wrestling. We are the AAA of all professional wrestling. So check us out, and I'm sure you're going to be thoroughly impressed with what we're doing out here, as well as if we got any sponsors out there that want to spend some money. Yeah, you can sponsor a reality wrestling star every month. Get your name out there. So, guys, check us out. Go to realitywrestling.com.
RealityWrestling.com is where you can find out more. You can subscribe to the YouTube channel if you haven't already. And BT, I know we have to talk about Elimination Chamber, which is coming up this weekend. We have WrestleMania around the corner. A lot of questions about Sami Zayn. A lot of questions about Cody Rhodes. Cody Rhodes had comments on the AEW brawl that went down. I don't know if we'll talk about that or not, but a lot's been going on, and we have to break down a couple things from this week's NXT. Tiffany Stratton, of course. Braun Breaker. Is the crowd souring on Braun? I don't know. We got to talk about it. And Grayson Waller, to me, is walking out with the game ball as far as characters go. And another thing I think we should talk about is our friend Alex Riley.
Oh, my God.
The dive of the century.
Alex Riley. Well, let's not forget about them Kansas City Chiefs and them Eagles, man.
Oh, yeah.
And that halftime Super Bowl got a little controversy came off of that as well. Goldberg made a controversial statement about the halftime show of Rihanna. You can pull that up and check it out throughout the break.
Yes.
But MVP actually snap back actually at Goldberg. We definitely got to talk about that because I wonder what Goldberg would have said if Garth Brooks had a crappy performance at the Super Bowl. I'm just wondering. So we definitely got to get off into that, as well as we talk about. We got so much to talk about on the show. It's gonna spill over, but Tommy Dreamer is challenging for the ISPC Heavyweight Championship. When are these old guys gonna get it done? Running back to that ring. Talking about Alex, right? Look here, man. I just retired, right? I just retired, and I just put my retirement gear up on eBay.
Okay. Did you really?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that.
We're looking for a stiff penny for the retirement gear of Booker T. And I did that because I'm done. I'm finished.
You don't even want to see those boots in your closet. You don't want to be tempted by them.
I don't want to see nothing. I don't want to see the tights. I want to see those boots, knee pads. Everything's going in one lump. You know what I mean? So, but it's like, man, when are these guys gonna get it? And I talk about it all the time. I say that walk to the ring at the Rumble, that blew me up. Okay. I was done after that. They could have just threw me out of the ring as soon as I got in. That's the way I felt. But I tell you, man, I'm serious when I say this. I'm serious 100%. This wrestling game, boxing game, MMA, football, rugby, I don't care what it is, other than cricket or throwing darts. Bowling, you might get away with it. You know what I mean? But those are young men sports. It's a young man's game. And when you think you can go out there and do it like you did once before, I can still fly like I did once before. I still got that jumper like I had it once. Ask Michael Jordan. That jumper, the hops left, the dunk and the flying and all that stuff. Ask, Dr. J. You know what I mean? Ask Chris Carter. It's a young man's game. Stay away from it. Guys, you're in the Hall of Fame. Stick around. We'll be back in a bit.
I am the Rocket, Josiah John. I'm training at Reality of Wrestling. I've wanted to be a wrestler since I was a little kid, since watching it with my dad for the first time and seeing guys like Booker T wrestle. That's when I knew that's what I wanted to do. So I just had to take that leap, take that drive, and chase some dreams. The greatest thing about Reality of Wrestling is all the knowledge that's here. From all the trainers, Ryan Davison, Brian Key, I am the Rocket. Yeah. One day, Booker T just called me Rocket.
And I got to give him a cool name, man. And Rocket is just something that stuck out with me. And I think that's something that's going to stick with him for a long time. He had Rocket on his shirt. I don't know if you noticed that, but he's definitely falling into it, man. And he's really buying into what this thing really, truly is. And if he could just keep his mind on point and stay focused, he definitely could do something in this business.
I feel like I've been doing really well training here. Just coming as much as I can. Come early to work out before the actual training. We have like a whole gym for people to work out. What would I say to somebody that's on the fence about joining Reality Wrestling? I would just tell you, just take the loop. Because everybody here is going to take care of you and help you get to where you need to be. You can make it here, you can make it anywhere.
Welcome back inside the Hall of Fame, y'all. We doing it big. Hey man, did you get a chance to check out that comment that Goldberg made about Rihanna's Super Bowl performance?
I did. I have it up here right now. This is an article. The details what happened. Goldberg made a tweet after the performance and said, I thought Rihanna was freaking horrible. I was disgusted by it. That's all. Let's just say that. I thought it was horrible. And then he went on to say about Chris Stapleton's performance at the national anthem that he liked it. because he said that he didn't grab his crotch every 15 seconds or make it about himself. Okay. I did not see this. I did not see it all. Well, I don't know. I don't know where to even start on that one.
What do you think about that?
Well,
I mean, Rihanna, motioned towards the crotch a couple of times, but okay.
Well, here's the thing. Look, as far as the comment, well, let me talk about the comment first.
Yeah.
Do I have an issue with it? Well, first off, it's his opinion, right? And he's entitled to it. Did I think it was freaking horrible? No. Was I disgusted by any part of it? Absolutely not.
Yeah,
Were my eyes transfixed on Rihanna as they typically are? Absolutely. Did I think it was the greatest performance of all time that she's ever done? No. But is she also pregnant? Yeah.
Yes.
So
exactly my point. And the same thing I was thinking myself. I swear to God.
Yeah.
You hit it like right on the head, man. I mean, you answered every point that I would have made. I swear to God. Because you asked me, do I think it was the best Super Bowl performance? No, I don't think so at all. But what do I think it was horrible? Do I think it was horrible enough for me to formulate a tweet to the world? The stupidest thing I ever seen in my life.
Disgusted was strong. That's a strong word.
Well, people just cannot keep their opinions to themselves. And Goldberg is a friend of mine. He's a friend of mine. Okay, but when people cannot keep their opinions to themselves just because they have something negative to say about someone, that's where this world is going.
Now, I will say, like, the Super Bowl is something that just the world comments on, right?
Of course.
And I found out, by the way, the performance of Rihanna was viewed more than the actual Super Bowl itself.
No. You don't know. That's not what I mean. What I mean is, it seemed like someone like Goldberg would be the first one to not comment in that way because of the hate that he gets from people on a daily basis. Goldberg shouldn't have been in the wrestling. Goldberg was this. Goldberg was that. He was the worst. He was horrible. I mean, so he should know how comments make people feel, of all people. And for him to step in that arena, good God, man, where's your head? That's what I'm saying.
I feel you. I mean,
that would be like me. When I know how, like I say, when I hear people talk about me on a regular basis, people that have done, nowhere near what I've done in this world or achieved what I've achieved, but still have their comments. But like I say, for me to stoop to that level, to go to where those people go on a daily basis, I just did not see Goldberg stepping into that arena and downing someone's performance. Not that it wasn't a good performance or a bad performance, but like I say, I'm gonna just take a pass on that because I don't want to stir up a fire for no reason. That's what I mean.
No, I feel you completely. It actually reminds me of something. Recently, a friend of mine who's actually in my band, he sent me an article about like the 10 worst albums Rick Rubin's ever produced, right? And I start reading it, and I realize this is some music critic who wrote it, and he's just tearing up all these albums. And I text my friend back, and I said, hey, brother, like, you make music. You know how hard it is to do this. I said, I don't feel right listening to somebody tear down, art that somebody's worked so hard at. Yeah. I was like, and guess what? There's an audience out there for it, right? It might not have been for me. Like, I might not like the Rick Rubin Slayer album, but somebody out there really loves that album. And who am I to judge what their artistic, taste is?
I mean, judge it publicly.
Judge it publicly. Yeah. Like in an article. Right?
If we're in the forum just talking, man, I can't stand such and such. But to go out and put it in character, that right there, man, it just blows me away where people sensitivity is more so than anything.
Well, and from a performer's to a performer like Goldberg.
Oh yeah, exactly the point. Yes,
like you should know. Like I didn't think of it in those contexts until you said it. And yeah, I mean, I can agree with that as well. You shouldn't just go ahead and put that out there, especially being a performer, knowing what it's like also to have a pan performance. But here's the thing, like Goldberg probably didn't even think twice about it. He probably just watched it, put it out there, and then didn't realize it was going to cause a firestorm.
No, this is what I mean right here, though. Okay, you watched it. What made you feel like you had to pick the phone up to tweet to the world about it?
No, I
That's
hear you.
what I'm talking about. That was disgusting. What made you do that? Because when you do that, you put a target on your back
Yeah.
immediately. And the target in this world today where it's so sensitive, just putting a tweet out like that, it can be embellished to the point to where the person that's listening to it can take it and make it whatever they want it to be. And it may not be nowhere near where you was trying to go.
Yeah, people start. I do agree with it. Well, this is the other side of it. Goldberg might have thought it was just a harmless tweet and didn't think anything of it. But you are right. People take that, they run with it, and they form an entire narrative about who this person is based upon their response to Rihanna's Super Bowl halftime show. I will say, so many people, if you did not love her performance online, like you did get attacked, right? I mean, the Riri stands are out there.
Can I say this too, though?
Yeah.
And a lot of those people I'm talking about may be Goldberg fans.
What do you mean?
That liked Goldberg until they heard that tweet.
Oh,
and then they automatically turn on him. He could automatically become a racist.
Well, in today's world, sure.
In today's world. And that could be far from the truth. You know what I mean? But when you do stuff like that, you put a target on your back for this world today. I don't know what we call them, this social media world we live in, for people to start formulating thoughts about you because of the way you felt about a halftime Super Bowl show. And it could ruin your whole life. One damn tweet. My mama said, if you ain't got something good to say, don't say nothing at all. Stay out of it.
Now, as far as the performance itself, I didn't see anything that I could characterize as disgusting. If somebody told me they didn't like the show, I probably wouldn't be surprised by that.
Maybe he was disgusted by a pregnant woman dancing.
Maybe.
Because look,
I would have to know what was disgusting about it.
Look, that's the only thing it could have been, was a pregnant woman dancing. That's the only thing it could have been. Because she didn't do anything. She didn't show nothing. She didn't show no skin. No. She didn't bend over and say, look at this. She didn't do none of that. She just danced. And she danced like she normally dances. She didn't go over the top as she normally would. Because she was pregnant, of course. And I noticed that immediately.
Well, it was a debate in the Gilmore household for a second. It's like, is she pregnant or is this like, because I know she just had a baby. I'm like, does she have a little couple extra pounds on her still?
It was a debate in my household too. And I said, man, Rihanna's pregnant, man. I didn't know that. And then Charmel go, no, she just had a baby. And I go, bitch. And I'm thinking, well, she must have lost that baby fat. And why she got in doing this show like this? That's what I'm thinking.
That's what I thought too. Yeah.
I figured she was pregnant because she was showing it. You know what I mean? She was showing the world that she was pregnant. But she was showing the world also, just because she was pregnant, that don't make her no less than a woman.
Doesn't mean she ain't Rihanna still.
You feel me? So when I see stuff like that, man, it just baffles the crap out of me. Disgusting. That's a very, very harsh word, because I'm trying to figure out myself what part was disgusting. Other than Rihanna being a woman that was pregnant on stage. That's it.
Bill Goldberg's been a longtime friend of the show, and I know he's a longtime legit friend of yours. Yeah. And I'm sure, again, and he hasn't said this, or I just heard about this story, so I'm formulating these opinions on the fly. Go ahead.
No, go ahead. No,
I was just gonna say, I'm sure he didn't think about this in those contexts, and I would love to hear him tell me. I would love to know what is disgusting about it. Then we can have a real debate. I really would like to know.
I want to know that too. You know what I mean? I would love to know that as well. You know what I mean? Because I want to know what was the comparison to.
Right.
I want to know, how did we come to that conclusion toward the performance was disgusting? What did she do on stage that was disgusting? I got to know. I really want to know. And that's something that, when I saw that, it made me feel a certain way. I go, and I'm a friend of Goldberg's. And I wondered, man, what he would have said if it was Garth Brooks had a bad performance, what he would have tweeted to the world about it.
Yeah.
If Garth Brooks, one of his favorite country groups or whatever.
Yeah, well, I don't know, but to go to it, I will say Rihanna included, Rihanna, Babyface, and Chris Stapleton all did great at Super Bowl, in my opinion. I don't know if you heard Babyface do "America the Beautiful,"
Yeah,
and then Chris Stapleton do the national anthem.
I did. He did.
Everybody killed it from top to bottom.
Yeah. Well, nobody was disgusting. Let's just say that.
No one was disgusting.
We gotta take a break. Stick around. We'll be back in a minute. Can you dig it, sucker?
You're listening to the Hall of Fame. Here's Booker T and Brad Gilmore.
Welcome back inside the Hall of Fame, guys. We just chopping it up, talking about a little something. I know you guys out there listening to the show want to get in and get a little champagne, wishing a little caviar dreams. I know we got some super chatters out there, man. We got to still a little bit more. We got a little bit more to talk about that I want to get into before we start taking super chats. And the first thing, Brad, we got to, and I hope you got the clip. Queued up and ready to go.
Oh, okay. Hold on. I know where you're going with it, so let me find it. Give me 1 second.
Something that happened over this past week, guys, of the return of my colleague, my broadcast colleague, Alex Riley. Alex R. Riley. That's what we're going to call it. Because, he returned to an independent show taking on EC3. And for some reason, I don't know what it is about this generation. Sting did it. As soon as Sting went to AEW, first thing I said is, Sting got to jump off something. He's got to jump off something. And this is what Alex Riley did in his return to the ring over the weekend. Let's check it out. Roll the clip.
All right, here he is. I don't think there's any sound to the clip.
First, Alex Riley said, "Let me show you this great physique. Unexpected entry at the Olympia." Okay. Then he wants to do then he wants to do this. He wants to dive over the
Oh my gosh. If you are not watching along with us, I don't mean to laugh at his expense.
He broke his hip or something.
My gosh.
He probably tore his pec. He probably broke his hip. And he probably just retired again.
Wait, what happened here? It looks like his leg got caught up at the
well, his leg and his arm got caught. I don't know what he was thinking about when he did this.
Wait. Here's the other thing, and I'm not trying to rag on him, but why choose to jump over the turnbuckle post?
That's the stupidest thing in the world. That's the first thing I was thinking about. I'm like, what is it? It's no room right there. There's nothing there.
Oh man. Golly. One more time. Oh my God.
This is my thing right here. This is my thing. Alex Riley, God bless him. But the brother he ain't dealing with it full deck. All right. He's not. I'm just telling it like it is. I know Alex Riley had his beef back in the day that he felt like perhaps hindered his career, and that was falling out of miscommunication or misunderstanding with John Cena, if I'm correct. But I remember talking to Alex Riley, and I said, man, bro, don't, hey, it is what it is, but one thing about this business, bro, it may work out sometimes it don't work out. I said, well, bro, you got an easy cake job doing this, analyst job. I said, man, we coming to Connecticut every week. I mean, we get put up at the nicest hotel in Greenwich. Sea bass and filet mignon at the Capitol Grill every week. I'm like, bro, this is a cake job. I say, roll with this, man. I say, you can run with this for another 20 years. Let me tell you something. Alex Riley, have nothing against Alex Riley at all. I consider Alex Riley, I wouldn't say a friend or anything, but someone
An acquaintance.
Someone I really liked. I liked Alex Riley. I really did. And I told Alex Riley, I said, man, and like I said, roll with this thing. I said, because man, you could have this job for at least another 20 years getting paid. You know what I mean? And you never know what you can parlay it to. I mean, it's there. But he wanted to get back in the ring so bad. And I think that was about 5 years ago, right?
Yeah, at least.
Alex Riley was, and I was doing the kickoff show. I think it was about 5 years ago, maybe 6. And Alex said, man, I want to get back in the ring. So he went back to NXT, ended up blowing his knee out again. And then he ended up getting released from the company. All right. If Alex would have just listened to me, you know what I mean, and stuck with that job at the table, he probably would have still been there. But I do know this, looking like he looked right now, his ass would have been fired within this 5-year period. I'm serious. So he would have been smart to have taken my advice and just figured out that job because he looked good. He played the role real good. He probably would have kept his weight down a whole lot better because that looked like a totally different guy than the Alex Riley that I knew just 5 years ago. It's amazing.
Yeah, look. Obviously, his passion's always been to be a pro wrestler. We've had Alex on the show before. He seems like a decent enough guy. I've never really broke bread with him or anything like that. But I think that you're absolutely right. When he gave up that position as a pre-show panelist in a kickoff show and wanted to do the wrestling thing again, that was the ultimate downfall of Alex Riley, especially in the WWE. And I know it's hard when that's your passion. Like look at here's a great comparison to it. Look at Byron, right?
Yeah.
Byron Saxton came in as a wrestler. He was wrestling on the ECW brand, the WWE ECW brand, and trained at FCW and did the whole 9. And they said, hey, we think you might be better suited. I don't really know how it happened, but he ends up on the commentary table one way or another. And he's been there for, I don't know how long, 8, 9 years, a decade.
And the thing is, that dude works out every day. He looks great. He looks great. And I'm sure his body feels great. After all these years, just sitting there at the table, working out every day.
No bump body.
No bumps other than whatever he wanted to do. But my thing is, that's a great comparison. That's a great comparison. And I understand wanting to have that dream and live it out. But this wrestling thing, it's not for everybody. And for Alex Riley was one of those guys. I like him. He's a good guy, but so is my next door neighbor.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I'm hopeful that Alex Riley's okay and that he's recovering.
I'm saying that because I couldn't see Fred in the ring, doing hurricanranas. That's my next door neighbor.
It's Fred, your next door neighbor. Well, hey, in the spirit of full transparency, because someone pointed out in the chat, so I went and did a little more research in the last segment. We were talking about Bill Goldberg. Yeah. And what his comments were toward Rihanna. So there's a couple things I do want to clear up for transparency's sake and just to make sure we have it right. So there wasn't a tweet that he put out. It was actually, he said it on a CarCast podcast with Matt, the Motorator D'Andrea.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Yeah, I thought
so. Okay, I thought it was a tweet. So I think I characterized it as a tweet. So my bad for that. And he said that he had an issue. Goldberg seems to have an issue, this from TMZ, with Riri's crotch grab. He didn't like her grabbing her crotch. His co-host said that the performance was kind of boring, and Goldberg agreed, calling Matt's comment the understatement of the year. So apparently, I guess he had an issue with it not being entertaining to him, which is fine. Grabbing a crotch.
And the thing is, Goldberg, he's 100% about the kids. I'm sure if it would have, somebody else was out there grabbing a crotch, he probably would have felt the same way about that because he's a, Sesame Street type of guy.
Right. Very clean, straight laced. Always got the kid.
I'm not just saying that. He is a Mr. Rogers, type.
Sure.
Or if it ain't about the kids, it ain't right. He's always had that quality about himself as well. So I can speak on that.
Yeah, so I guess that was kind of more his beef with it. So I just wanted to clear that up because I saw the TMZ Sports article. So it was not a tweet. It was a comment on his podcast, and he looks like he had an issue with the crotch grab, which, okay, I guess fine. I didn't even notice her grabbing her crotch, to be honest with you.
It was subtle. It was subtle.
It was like a little side action.
Like she was, just grabbing it.
Not Michael style.
It was like the hand was, in that position. You know what I mean?
It was there.
Yeah. I saw it a couple of times. Let's just say that.
Okay. Not like you were looking.
Biggest you couldn't miss it.
Can we just admit though, Rihanna's one of the great, beautiful women of all time, right?
She's definitely just so unique, man.
So unique.
She's in her own lane. She's got her own, quality of, beauty. She's different than most, so yeah, man. I mean, she's top notch. She really is. Yeah.
Yeah, and you know what?
I put the rocket on her.
Just send her straight to the moon. The hits.
One man seat, baby. It's a one man seat.
That's what you said the other day on NXT. That was when we were talking the other day on the phone. I was trying to remember what you said. You said, Cinderella. You were talking about JC Jane,
yeah,
right? And what'd you say? What was the quote?
The rocket is a one man seat. Ain't got time for no two seaters, baby. Yeah, that's a one man ship. That's what it is. That's right. The rocket.
Oh, I thought that was so funny.
It is, man. I mean, I've been thinking of some crazy stuff lately. Man. I don't know where it's been coming from, but it's been definitely, coming out. And I'm loving it, man. I'm loving it. My boy Vic, I just been like cracking him up every week to the point to where sometimes he's just speechless. Oh man, I'm having fun, man. I'm having the best time of my life right now. NXT, baby, Tuesday nights on USA Network. Don't miss it, man. Don't miss it.
I know we're close to break, but so I don't know if you want to talk about this next segment or right now. But of course, a legend in the wrestling world passed away a couple of days ago. The father of Jeff Jarrett, Jerry Jarrett. Just want to send condolences to the Jarrett family.
Let's take a break, man. Let's take a break and come back on the back end and say a few kind words for Jerry Jarrett, a guy who definitely was a pioneer in the business. Stick around, guys. You're in the Hall of Fame. We'll be back in a minute. Welcome back inside the Hall of Fame, guys. Just talking about a little some that went down just a week ago. The passing of the father of Jeff Jarrett. Jerry Jarrett passed away at the tender age of 80 years old. That's still, I think about
still
that.
Still young.
I got a birthday coming up on the 1st, man. I'll be 58. And I think about those times, man. I think about those years, taking the sand in the hourglass. And I think about it all the time. And see someone, pass away every time in this business. It never goes away. It feels the same way every single time. And I just want to say condolences, to the family of Jeff Jarrett, because I'm sure they're going through, pain, struggle at this time as well. And what's crazy is I was listening to an interview Jeff did just last week, and you could feel the anger coming out of him. You know what I mean? It was probably because of, just being at a point to where, man, I'm sick and tired, and I just lost my dad. So Jeff Hang in there, brother. Hang in there, man. I know how it is when you lose someone. Trust me, I know how it is. So just hang in there. My prayers are with you, bro.
Yeah, I mean, everything that Jerry Jarrett did down in Memphis, along with Jerry Lawler, of course, and with the USWA, and Hall of Famer in his own right. And to me, the Jarrett family is one that's always going to be tied in with pro wrestling, and he just a pioneer, like you said before. And I know, I mean, even at one point, this is how well regarded Jerry Jarrett was as far as his mind for professional wrestling. When Vince was facing that case with the federal government over the steroid trial in the early 90s, they were sure at one point, like, hey, well, they weren't sure, but I'm saying at one point they were saying, man, Vince might go away for a minute, right, to prison. It was a real possibility at one point. And they said, who can we get to fill the Vince role within the company to book the storylines and make sure the territory thrives? And the guy they were grooming to do that was Jerry Jarrett. They're like, we're going to give the company over to Jerry Jarrett. We can trust him to guide the ship. And I just say that story to say how well respected his mind for wrestling was. I got to meet Jerry Jarrett for the first time at Ric Flair's last match. And you could tell everybody was in backstage of that locker room. They made sure they came by and said hello to Jerry Jarrett, shake his hand, look him in the eye, and just thank him for everything that he's done. And I thought that was a really cool thing of everyone to do.
Yeah, man, he was definitely highly praised in this business. I never got a chance to work for, Jerry Jarrett. I never got a chance to work for, Memphis Wrestling, Lawler or anything like that. But I've heard nothing but good things about those guys and what they did for that territory down there and where they brought wrestling to from a perspective. So, and rest in peace, Jerry Jarrett.
Yeah, just sad. Yeah. Sad when one of the hallmark, one of the legends of the business, goes away.
Seriously.
But anyhow, Jeff also talks a lot about working there early in the Memphis territory, and you could almost see this with Dusty too, because I heard Cody Rhodes doing an interview, and Jeff had said something similar before, but Cody was like, "Yeah, Dusty Rhodes was my dad, but I really didn't get trained by Dusty. When Dusty was running the school, he wouldn't let me train there. It wasn't until Dusty would leave in the evenings, the other boys would say, all right, come in, we'll train you a little bit. We'll show you a couple things here, kid." And, for a long time, Dusty even didn't smarten Cody up. And that was just kind of that old school mentality. And I think Jeff said something similar of like, Jerry was like, look, brother, you're going to start at the bottom. You're going to work your way up. And Jeff told this story one time where he said he was in the car with Jerry Lawler, and he just got this new car, and he didn't want anyone eating in it. And Jerry was hungry after one of the shows, and Jeff wouldn't let Jerry Lawler eat in the car, right? And this was in Jeff still a young boy. So Jerry Lawler obviously is upset by this, has a little heat with Jeff that he won't let the vet eat in the car, right? So he tells Jerry Jarrett, Jeff gets home, Jerry Jarrett calls him, his dad, and says, what did you do to Jerry Lawler? And Jeff's like, well, I just didn't let him eat in the car. He goes, son, you got to go apologize to him. He's like, okay. He goes, all right, I'll call him now. And Jerry Jarrett goes, no. You can't call him. You got to go see him in person and apologize. And he said that Jerry Lawler lived about an hour and a half away or what have you. So Jeff gets in the car, drives an hour and a half to see Jerry Lawler just to apologize for not letting him eat in the car. But that just tells you that old school mentality of respect for the vets, respect for the business, right?
That's gone. Those days are long gone. Okay. I might have started the trend. I'm serious, but no, man, those days definitely had to be something. I've heard a lot of the stories myself. I've watched actually some of the Tales of the Territory, and I hear some of those little stories, man. I go, man, that can't be true. There is no way that can be true. You know what I mean? So I don't know, man.
I'll say about those Tales for the Territories, I don't believe half the crap they're talking about on those things.
I swear to God.
And then his eye popped out, and he put it back in. The other one popped out, and then
God bless Jarrett. But I think he was on a few of those episodes.
He might have been. God bless his soul. But you know what? Look. The wrestling business is to what? What are we doing? We're embellishing. We're storytellers.
Like catching fish.
It's like, yeah, man.
Well, you catch a, big one, you know what I mean? Next thing, 5 years later, it was a shark. You know what I mean? It started out as a bass.
It started out as a bass. It becomes a shark. It bit your arm at one time. You had to wrestle it away.
I'm serious, man. Oh, man, but that's the business, man. Telling stories. Lying.
Yeah.
Lying. Doing a lot of lying.
Doing a lot of lying. Oh, man. Hey, I know we've talked about it a lot, but did you hear Cody Rhodes talk about what happened at the AEW press scrum with CM Punk and everything that happened afterward?
I did not. I missed that.
Cody was asked about it on Ariel Helwani's show. And I'm going to paraphrase, but Cody said that there was a certain vision for AEW when it started, when he and the Bucks all started it, right? He said he kind of brought an old school element to it. The Bucks brought the new school PWG side of it. And, that's why he thought it was successful. And then when he left and all the stuff happened, he didn't say this directly to Punk, but he did say, you have to be careful who you bring in to your organization, because if they don't share the same vision as you, things like that might happen.
I heard him say that before. Yeah, but go ahead.
Well, yeah, that was to the extent of what it was. He said it was just an awful situation, and that, he got 75 messages the next day about it all. And this is when he's back here at WWE. But do you think that there's some credence to that? Not even if we're talking about the specific situation, but like for you, when you're thinking about bringing someone into reality of wrestling, do you have to be very careful of, like, do they have the goal in mind for my vision? I mean, is that something you consider?
Yes, it's definitely something I consider. And just, to piggyback off what you just said, can you imagine how far Cody Rhodes could have gone in that interview?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, he could go all the way, bro.
Because Cody knows.
He could have Seth Rollins him.
He could have went way over the top as far as that goes, but he tamed himself.
Well, because Cody's the one that tells the story about you from back in the day.
Well, my thing is, like I say, Cody knows. That's why I don't have to talk about things, and I don't have to speak on them or anything. Those guys, they know when I'm talking about something and I'm saying something. I'm 100%, correct 9 times out of 10 on what I'm talking about. And when someone like Cody say, I'm gonna take a step back and walk away from this and let me get my ass back to WWE, that spoke volume. When I left TNA, I didn't leave for nothing. I didn't leave TNA because, I wasn't having fun. I left TNA because no dish to anyone or anything, but I didn't think it was the business, had the business, plan I was used to. I didn't think it was trying to, win. I didn't think they were trying to, really, really take that company and that vision to another level, especially the vision that I saw with all that young talent. So I said, let me get up out of here right now, because I can see what's getting ready. Hogan started coming in, Beefcake, you know what I mean? All those guys. I was like, man, look, it's time for me to blow up out of here. So I could see the writing on the wall. And trust me, Cody saw the writing on the wall as soon as they started thinking about bringing in certain people, because their vision, in this business, I said it earlier. You can't be selfish enough to where you can't be selfless all the time. Those two got to go together all the time. As selfish as you may be, and I say it all the time, you got to be selfish to make it to the top. The Shawn Michaels, the Hogans, the Austins, me. Yeah, you got to be selfish, but you got to be selfless at the same exact time. Some people don't know. Some people don't know anything about that. Some people don't have any clue or idea what that really and truly is all about. And I'm just being frank, 100%. We got to take a break. You're in the Hall of Fame. Stick around. We'll be back. That's my Superman, voice. We'll be back in a minute.
Every time I come here, I just have so much fun. I go home and we just can't stop talking about it till we come back.
The whole roster, top to bottom, star-studded guys.
We drove 12 hours from Atlanta just to come see it.
One missile for the world. It's one of the premier independent wrestling promotions across America.
It's a well-oiled machine, and there's a lot of good talent. It's very rare on in these shows to see so much talent on one show.
The organization that he has right now, I think and truly believe that it's one of the best organizations out there.
Brian Keith is 15 feet in the air! Brian Keith from up top!
A lot of fun, a lot of good athletes, good wrestlers, good family fun.
I've been around with a lot of the other independent groups, but this to me is a very, very top and first-class operation.
Reality of wrestling, one word, heart. And that's what Booker T is bringing to Houston. It's already special.
He's created opportunity, and he's creating great talent, as you guys well know.
Can't make it happen without these young people, without the fans coming out and supporting this thing. This is the flagship of Texas wrestling. This is the beginning of something big. It ain't gonna stop.
It's the best damn promotion in the country right now. The best independent promotion in the country. The best talent, the best coach and teacher that there ever was. And this is where it's at right here in the reality of wrestling. Believe that.
Oh my goodness! A Davidson driver!
It's very professional. It's a very good production. Booker's doing it right. I really enjoyed being a part of it.
Oh, what a rush!
The future of wrestling is reality of wrestling. That's the reality of the situation.
I'm Roddy Piper, and you're watching Reality of Wrestling. Be there, be square, babe.
Can you dig it, sucker?
You're listening to the Hall of Fame. Here's Booker T and Brad Gilmore.
Welcome back inside the Hall of Fame, guys. Hey, I want to let you guys know, we're coming from ESPN 97.5, 92.5. I want you guys to know that I don't need you guys fighting in the comments over CM Punk, okay? That ain't what this show is all about. That's not what we're trying to do here. We're not trying to make people go against each other and, one side's got to pick a side. That's not what this is about. We're talking about the business here. We're talking about what makes this business work. And the reason why I love it so much, because it has always been, a thing to where, we got to work together in order to, really make some money. One thing about my concepts and my mentality from a wrestling business perspective, I always love, being on the card. I always love working at the top of the card more than I love working at the bottom of the card or the middle of the card, because I knew I was going to be making more money, but I knew I could work at the top of the card all the time. But I knew if I was good enough, the guy at the top of the card might say, hey, man, come up here, man. Come over here and work with us. Come over here and dress with us. So you got to know how to put yourself in play in order for that kind of stuff to happen. And you got to be a team player in order to get in those positions. You know what I mean? So that's what I'm talking about. If you're thinking about getting into this business, anybody out there thinking about getting into this business, know that you got to know how to play the game. Otherwise, you're not going to last very long at all. You can be great at what you do. You can be great. And if people don't like you, they're going to tell you, somebody's going to tell you, man, get the hell out of here. But you can just be good at what you do. And if people like you, you could be around forever. You can be around, throughout the history of time. I say that because I've been around this business for 30 years, and I don't consider myself that great. I really don't. I don't consider myself that great at all, but people like me. You know what I mean? They know they're going to have some fun around me. They know they're going to be laughing, at the same time. And that's, that's just a little life lesson right there for you guys.
Yeah. So no battling one another in the comments section. God, man, we can't do that.
Go away from that, man.
Ridiculous. This is the Hall of Fame. We're a Hall of Fame family here. No more of that. Hey, Book, we do have a couple super chats. I do think that we should get to, so that we can, get the champagne wishes and caviar dreams fulfilled of the fans. Wait, BT, you ready for a couple?
Yeah, let's go with it.
All right, here's our first
super chat
return.
Yeah.
Mike Edwards says, hey, Book and Brad. Book, who designed your in-ring gear, and is there a contract for wrestlers to have their gear made by a certain individual?
You don't have to be contracted, especially on the independent scene level. I mean, in WWE, they have seamstress. They have people on call in the back making gear as the show is going on. And they high dollar, dog. You got to spend some money. But on the independent scene, It's a place called High Spots. You can send them your measurements, and they can make it to your liking. You know, whatever you want, they'll make it. You can design it. They'll pretty much put it down. For me, I always talk about my first outfit was made by the lady who made all the costumes for the strippers. You know, I mean, she was good with a sewing machine, bro. I don't care what she worked that sewing machine. But as well as just like say, for instance, one of my wrestlers, he makes all the gear for all the other wrestlers on the show. You know, so he's like my seamstress. You know, so you just got to find somebody that's good. You can pretty much sometimes you don't even need someone to make your gear. You can go online and find a lot of this stuff these days. You know, so. Just got to get yourself out there.
All right, we have another one here from Cali Toenail. Another
Toenail.
I hit the wrong button.
That ain't it.
That was tenderoni.
You're giving Toenail tenderoni, huh? Super chat.
There we go. I think Raquel Rodriguez should go heel with the Chamber. Her and Bianca would be best match for Mania. Give her her spacesuit and put the rocket on her.
Put the rocket on her. Raquel Rodriguez, man. I didn't get a chance to get my hands on her for a second before she left NXT to the main roster, but I definitely wanted to work with her on a couple of things, and hopefully Raquel is listening to me. And it's just a very, very small thing that I think would accent her entrance more than anything. So I'm looking forward to actually getting a chance to get to the pay-per-view this weekend, getting to Montreal, Canada, and hopefully I get a chance to kick it with her for a second and give her just a couple of tips that's going to, there again, like you just said, put the rocket on her, put her in that one-man ship and send her straight to the moon, man. So I'm looking forward to it. Yeah, man. She's a talent. She's definitely a talent.
And our next one,
Super Chat,
is from Elijah Vin. What's up, Elijah? Hey, Book, how do I start my own wrestling company? Like WWE.
You got $1 billion, like Tony. That would be the first stop. You know what I mean? I'm serious.
Let's start with the Billy.
You got to start with $1 billion. You know what I mean? If you want to build a company like WWE, if you want to start with a company like, let's say, start smaller than that. Start with reality wrestling. You want to start a company like reality wrestling. And to start a company like reality wrestling, you got to have probably about $2 million.
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
just to start.
Just to get started, you know what I mean? Because you got to get the building, you know what I mean? You got to buy all the equipment, you know, you have to, get in the building means you got to pay rent. You know,
that means, yeah.
You got to, bills, light bills, you got insurance, you got all kind of stuff that you're going to have to come out of your pocket. So, like I say, $2 million might be your starting point. And I know I probably spent about $2 million when I first started over a period of about, I don't know, maybe 3 to 5 years. I know I spent about $5 million. I mean, I'm sorry, about $2 million. So that's a starting point. And then, that's just buying the equipment. And you want to get into the business without any knowledge of what the business is, you can end up losing a lot of money. You can end up losing that $2 million. I lost a lot of money myself when I first got started in the business, just because I didn't know the do's and don'ts, the little bitty things. And over the years, I figured it out as I went along. But that's going to be your starting point. It's not easy to start a wrestling company, and as well as to a wrestling company that's going to be successful. I see a lot of these companies that call themselves wrestling companies, and they working in a room that's 10 by 10 with chairs around the ring, and they think that's what this thing's all about. I remember a promoter telling me a long time ago, you cannot set up a tent and do wrestling, because wrestling is a show.
Facts. I mean, I've seen it firsthand. It's funny. There was that show on Showtime called Heels. Did you ever see Heels?
Yeah.
Stephen Amell. Do you watch some of it? Maybe. I just remember the first episode. he's there, and he works at like a tractor dealership or something during the day. The guy who runs the wrestling company, Stephen Amell. Stephen Amell's in the house, and his wife's complaining about some big charge on the credit card or something like that. Maybe I'm misremembering, but this is kind of the general idea of the scene. His wife's mad that he spent something on the credit card. She's like, "What did you spend $1,600 that we don't have, on?" And he goes, "Man, I needed smoke machines for the show."
yeah, exactly.
And you know what? When I saw that, I actually talked to the writer, Michael Waldron, who created the show. I said, "Bro, you hit it on the head with that line right there."
Oh my God, that's a perfect one right there, man. Because I know exactly what he's talking about. We need this, we need that, we need this. God, it's a never-ending story as far as stuff that you're gonna need when you're trying to do a wrestling show, and you got to spend money. And for me, thank God, I was still working full-time when I opened my wrestling school. So I was taking, a lot of the money that I was making from my checks, and I was putting it right back into my wrestling company. So I banked on myself to create something. I say, man, if I can create something, at the end, all the money that I'm putting in, if I create something, even if I'm not making a dime on it now, if I create something at the end of the day, I will have something that I can sell. That's something, that's going to be worth a whole lot. And right now, reality of wrestling, yeah, I can imagine if I was to put it up on the blocks right now to be sold, man. I mean, shoot, some of these, you talking about Saudi. Buying something. Hey, we got something for you. So my thing is this, man. You gotta know where to start, how to start, and know what your plan is more than anything. I had a plan for reality wrestling, and my plan has come to fruition. 100%, man. A lot of young soldiers have taken over reality wrestling and have taken it to the next level. Like we said, guys, if you want to see a fatal four-way tag match that perhaps is the best fatal four-way tag match in the history of independent wrestling, like I said, we don't call ourselves independent wrestling. We're the AAA of all professional wrestling. If you want to see it, guys, stay tuned to Reality of Wrestling over your next couple of weeks. We're going to be putting it out there. You guys are going to be treated to one of the best fatal four-ways you ever seen in your life. Stick around, guys. You're in the Hall of Fame. We'll be back in a minute.
Listening to the Hall of Fame. Here's Booker T and Brad Gilmore.
Shoop! Welcome back inside the Hall of Fame, guys. What we got, man? What we got?
We have several things, and you know what? This is what we should talk about, because this Saturday from Montreal, Quebec, Canada, it will be the Elimination Chamber, the February pay-per-view, the last premium live event that we're going to get before WrestleMania in Los Angeles, California. And Book, the main event is something that everybody's talking about. And right now, Callie Toenail has a question about it. And I think we should spend some legitimate time on this subject.
Super chat.
Or really, let me, this is going to be Callie's sound now.
Give us some Roni, brother. Oh, yeah.
There we go. Callie Toenail with the $5 says, to be honest, Sammy will lose. When's the last time someone got put over in their hometown? You go home, you catch a beat down. That's the rule. No hopes up. But the main event is Sami Zayn, Roman Reigns for the title. Sam is expected to get a hellacious hero's welcome in his hometown. And there's a lot of internet chatter, Booker, of what do you do in this situation?
a lot of things you can do. I don't like booking the show though.
I know you don't. So let me book it.
This is like, a Disco Inferno type question.
It is something Disco would talk about, right?
Yeah. And the thing is, I have the perfect solution. I have the perfect solution, but I work for the company, and I don't want to like just say, for instance, if I was to tell the way I would book it and it actually happened that way, and then people go, well, Book must have some insider information or something like that. I can't put my
I know.
Right?
Do you remember the time that you pulled up like the Vegas odds to win the Royal Rumble, and like the number one favorite was Brock Lesnar, and you just said that?
Yeah.
After he wins, everyone's like, Booker had a spoiler. He knew what was going to happen.
I mean, it was crazy, and I'm like, man, I'm trying to act like I know what we doing something here. You know what I mean? And I get beat up over it, so I just don't like. And the thing is, I let me say this though. Let me say this. Read that question one more time. Read that question for me one more time.
All right, this is from Cali Toenail. To be honest, Samuel will lose. When's the last time someone got put over in their hometown? You go home, you catch a beat down. That's the rule. No hopes up.
When the last time someone got a win in their hometown? That's the part right there. That's the part. It's so cliche, right? It's something that always got to happen, right? But the thing is, it's not something that's always got to happen. We're in a different time now. We're in a different space. We're in a different era. And the one thing I can say this. Let me just put it out there like this. Sami Zayn is the hottest thing we got going right now in the WWE, right? He's hot. He's white hot. You know what I mean? And something like that, I don't think is warranted the old cliche like we've done it in the past. That's just me talking. Okay.
I hear you.
You know
I
why?
hear you.
You know why? Because there's plenty of time. It's let me say this. And I heard this on one of those cowboy movies. It's plenty of slip between a cup and a lip.
Books need to stop watching John Wayne. There's plenty of that is some old white man talk right there. There's plenty of slip between a cup and a lip.
You know what I mean? What I mean is, no, you know what I mean by that, right? You know what I mean, right?
A lot can happen between now and then, right?
Exactly. See,
I got it. I actually speak old Southern white man. That's one of the few things that I.
You got it. No brother on earth would have got that. I'm gonna tell you that right now. That's like being on Mount Everest. We ain't going.
We ain't going.
We ain't going. That's really a slip between a cup and a lip. I didn't even know what it means if I wouldn't have been watching the damn movie.
We ain't going. Oh my gosh. Can someone out there make a Mount Everest t-shirt that says we ain't going? We got to sell the we ain't going shirt. Forget the ship shirt. We ain't going.
So you book it however you want to book it, man. But I just wanted to get that out there, throw my opinion out there in my cowboy notes at the same time.
Oh, that was funny.
Y'all can use that too. There's plenty of slip between a cup and a lip.
I'm gonna say that on commentary one day to pop you.
I was using it on NXT this week.
Oh, you please do. We gotta have that we ain't going shirt though. Somebody please make it for us. Oh my gosh. Going to Sammy and Roman, it is an interesting predicament, right? Because you just anointed Cody Rhodes the heir apparent. Main event WrestleMania, won the Royal Rumble, but we have seen this story before where for whatever reason, at the same time you're building to your main event storyline, there's a star that starts to just erupt, right? And no one planned. When I first saw Sami Zayn coming out with the Usos, I was like, okay, cool, that's fine. But I never, ever thought he was going to really ever do anything with it, really, to be honest with you. And then now here he is, like you said, the hottest thing in the company. and you have this hot babyface Cody Rhodes, you have this hot babyface Sami Zayn, and we want to see it both happen. We want Cody to be champion, we want Sami to be champion, but we know Roman Reigns can only lose once, right? To end this incredible reign. So it is quite the booking predicament to put yourself in, and I don't know where they're going with it. The only thing I can say is there are 2 nights of WrestleMania, right?
Yeah.
There's 2 nights of WrestleMania. And how they want to lay this thing out, like you said, you don't want to book the show. I don't really want to book the show. I've been thinking this has been leading to, the only thing that's weird is Jay. We haven't seen Jay Uso. That's all I'm going to say. Where's Jay?
Yeah.
That's what sticks out to me. Where's Jay Uso? And also the pop that Sammy's going to get in Montreal. We need to have the decibel levels ready. Like I want to see how loud this thing's going to be, because he's getting a pop everywhere he goes. But can you imagine what it's going to be like in Canada, Montreal?
Hey man, that's what I'm saying, bro.
That's Road Warrior territory.
I understand, what people thinking is as far as being in your hometown. I've never won a match at home. Never won a big match at home.
Isn't that an old Vinceism?
It
like
is.
You don't win.
It is. That's what I said. That's what
It's not a wrestling rule. It was a Vince rule.
It was an unwritten Vince rule.
So the heel could get heat.
I don't know.
That's what I always heard.
But my thing is, we're in a different time now. We're not in the Vince era anymore. So as well as the changing of the guard, has definitely we've seen a change in the whole show and the whole operation, the way it's been looking as of late. And the numbers tell you. I think SmackDown, drew 2.5 million. Last week.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so, come on. These guys are really beginning to produce some really, really good TV, even like the stuff with the, what am I thinking? Poppy with Dominic.
The Judgment Day?
Judgment Day, yeah.
Yeah, it's good.
When I saw Dominic Mysterio out there crying because Beth Phoenix had him in that lock and she was about to take him up, and he started going, no, like crying like a little baby. And Rhea Ripley came in and made the save. And I was laughing so freaking hard because he was like a little kid, Beth Phoenix was like his mom, it was like so cool, man. But it was just stupid. And it was funny. It wasn't like, anything. It was just wrestling. You know what I mean? It was just, that's what I love about the business. You can take it and make it whatever you want it to be at that time when you want to see. So for me, man, I'm loving what WWE is doing right now. Seriously.
We'll see, guys. I want to say in the chat what everyone thinks. If they think Cody Rhodes if they think Sami Zayn's going to win on Saturday, or is it going to be Roman Reigns? You're so close to WrestleMania. I will say this. I would be completely shocked, not surprised. I would be shocked if Roman loses the title. I would be shocked.
I wouldn't. I wouldn't be. Like I'm thinking about. You know me, man. I'm always thinking about the promotion. I'm always thinking about what we can get out of this. Roman's gonna always be Roman. Okay. And don't think that a loss is going to change that. I don't think it's going to change. Do you look at The Undertaker any differently since the streak was broken? Do you?
No, I don't. No, I don't think a loss is good. No. But here's the thing. To use that analogy, whoever beat Undertaker for the streak, right? That was going to be a major moment that we would never forget. And it's going to be the same for Roman. Whoever beats Roman, this 500-day streak that he's on, or whatever it's up to now, that's going to be one of the most memorable moments in wrestling history, or at least it has the potential to be.
I know we got to take a break, but one thing about Sami Zayn, okay, he's not that guy that was anointed that spot, and a lot of guys come into that position sometimes that aren't anointed that spot, and they figure out how to make themselves look good when they need to. Always taking the smallest little bitty things and making it the biggest things on the show. And I think one thing about that guy, Sami Zayn, How many times can you say, even though he's haven't been the guy, haven't been the chosen one, how many times have you seen a bad Sami Zayn match?
I can't think of any.
How many times have you seen a Sami Zayn match where you wasn't going, man, this is good, man, this is pretty good. Yeah, this guy's
Kills it every time.
Kills it. And now he's just in a position to where he might freaking bring it all the way home, because you got to make someone, along the way sometimes. Sometimes that guy may not be the guy you're thinking about making, but Sami Zayn is the guy that you could put in that position. How many times have I said it? If I had 20 Sami Zayns?
Right.
How many times have I said that?
You said it for years.
Man, give me 20 Sami Zayns. Stick around, guys. You're in the Hall of Fame. We'll be back in a minute.
How well do you think you know your wrestling? I prepared some trivia questions right here for you, so let's go and take a look. How was that? I hope you did well. Now let's throw it back over to Brad and Booker for the Hall of Fame.
Welcome back inside the Hall of Fame, guys. And one thing I wanted to point out, and I got to point it out, I just got to. I was talking about give me 10 to 20 Sami Zayns way before this bloodline thing.
Yes, for years.
I've been saying this for a long freaking time. Right. Give me 10 Sami Zayns. Give me 20 of these guys, I could start a company. I've been saying this way before Sami Zayn was doing any of this bloodline stuff, because I recognize talent. I could spot talent a mile away. I could see something, in a guy that perhaps no one else, can see. I don't know what it is. It's a sixth sense. It's I don't know. I'm like Johnny Wishbone, a psychic extraordinaire. I could see stuff like that. And with Sami Zayn, I could, when he was a baby face, when he was that baby face that was slapping the mat and throwing his hands up, I even liked him then. I was like, man, this is not gonna work. Yeah, but he was all in with it, jumping through the freaking ropes, you know what I mean, through the bars, the steel and stuff, throwing it like just caution to the wind. A little could really hurt himself, but he was all in on being that baby face, that he was down in NXT. I get it. But to see that guy grow from that guy to this guy, like, wow, is amazing. It's amazing. So I just want to put that out there. This is a guy that I've been on my radar for a long time.
Could anybody, literally, could anybody else on the roster could have pulled off that angle with Johnny Knoxville and made it interesting? Honestly.
You got the Miz. Miz could have pulled it off.
I know, but then the match. Miz maybe could have done the match, but Sammy was the perfect guy.
Sammy was perfect. I'm just saying.
He really was.
Sammy was, like I say, Sammy was that utility guy that you give him no matter what job it is, it being Noriega. He didn't care what it was. Just put me out on television and I'm going to go out and when I come to, that's you know what, and I'm not just saying this, but Sammy reminds me so much of myself, man. I swear he reminds me so much of myself because I would get some of the smallest roles sometime in WWE. And I relished getting those small roles sometime because I would come back through the curtain and Vince McMahon would be sitting there and he would be looking at me and he would go, look, you did it again. And you got him again. How could that be the best thing on the show tonight? He would always put me over like that because no matter how small it was, if it was just taking a bump outside and making a stupid face, that's a meme now on social media. those were the spots for me. And Sammy take those, getting beat up in a grocery store by Stone Cold. That's what Sammy is, man. He's that guy that can go out there and take that role and just be it. And no matter what it is, hey, just give me the next one. I'm ready for it. So that's what I love about that guy.
That's a great point. And you know what? Let me ask you this. Do you think that Sami Zayn and his bloodline story run is akin to that of King Booker? Right? Because you've said before, when they made you King of the Ring, there was no real plan for it afterward, but you took it, you ran with it, and became the world champ from it.
Sami Zayn could have been the whooping boy of the bloodline. He could have been the guy that they just could have made a fool out of. But Sammy put himself in position to win because Sammy was the guy that was really making the fans feel a certain way when he was out there creating that story. I would watch him and the subtleties that Sami Zayn had and the timing that he has is impeccable. It really is. So for him to take that and make that into something to where it may not have been the route they were going to go with, such as a la King Booker, but I'm going to take this role just like when I got the television championship. I said, man, nobody's getting this title back. I'm like, I slipped on a banana peel and got it because Rick Martel didn't bring his boots. I'm going against Disco Inferno. I get the belt. I'm supposed to drop it in the next couple of weeks. But in my mind, I was like, man, I'm going to go out here and shock and amaze the crowd to the point to where everybody's going to be raising the roof on a weekly basis, and they're going to have to start making the T-shirt. And that's exactly what happened. 6-time television champion, championships later, the most decorated television champion of all time. And it was because I was like, man, you giving me the ball. I'm not I'm not going to drop it. I'm going to score it. And that's the mentality that Sami Zayn has and always has had since day one. I got to score. Babyface, when he was first starting, all the way up into this guy that we're watching right now.
So it's going to be it's going to be an incredible sight to see. And I can't wait to break it down with you on Monday or whenever we do the show next to really see what they're going to do. Because I have no clue. I have zero clue as to what the turnout of this thing's going to be. There are a couple other matches on the card I feel like we should at least mention. We have the Elimination Chamber match for the United States title. Austin Theory, the champ, defends against Seth Rollins, Johnny Gargano, Bronson Reed, Damian Priest, and Montez Ford. I expect Theory to retain in that one, but you've been in the chamber before. You talked about how brutal it was. Do you look forward to seeing these chamber matches, or are they hard for you to watch?
It's kind of funny, man. I don't know if I've really watched a chamber match since the one that I was in. Just because I'm not a big fan, of matches like that because I know what it does to the body. The fans think that they're just watching guys go out there, they jump out something. It looks cool. But nah, man, that thing hurts. It's one of those matches to where you want to put behind you and hopefully you never have to experience it ever again. That's truly the outcome of a match like that. But all of those guys are young, you know what I mean? So it's going to be very, very exciting for me to watch it. It's like watching UFC. People go, man, I even talk about how brutal it is, but it entertains me. I love it. So I'm going to be looking forward to, seeing how that thing play out with those guys.
Let me ask you this. Brock Lesnar versus Bobby Lashley. We're getting it at the Elimination Chamber. This is their third encounter with one another? I think they had the Saudi match, they had the Rumble match, and I think this is the third. I thought they were going to, not do this on this show, but drag it out to WrestleMania. It seems like that's the only path for either one of those guys. I mean, Bobby and Brock, you can use them in any match at WrestleMania, but it felt like they're building to that. Do you think that their differences are settled Saturday, or do we see another match after this?
I don't know, man. I don't know. I really don't know. I don't know what's going to happen with that match, but I said it like a year or so ago. I said, man, I think it was a comment and people was talking about Bobby Lashley. I don't know how long he's going to be around WWE, and I think I said, I think they're grooming Bobby Lashley for something big. over these next couple of years. I say that I really feel like, they're really grooming Bobby Lashley for something big. And now we're seeing this thing with him and Brock Lesnar, and not just seeing this thing with him and Brock Lesnar, with him and Brock Lesnar, with him getting the upper hand, leading into, a big, confrontation. So I don't think this is going to be the end of it. I actually think this is just the beginning of Bobby Lashley and Brock Lesnar. I could be wrong, but that's just my thoughts on it.
I hope so. I hope it's not the end. I want to see more from these guys.
And the reason I say that is because Bobby needs someone to work with, and Brock needs someone to work with as well.
And who's more believable to work with the other? Do you know what I mean? Like a lot of the times with Brock or Bobby, you have to have a realistic challenger for them, to buy into it. And there's no more realistic than one another.
It's nobody you can just put in play right now.
Right.
It's nobody you can just put in play right now. So I think those guys are going to be married to each other for a while. That's what you used to say back in the day. They're going to be working with each other for a minute. That's just my opinion on that. That's what I would do.
Oh, wait. We have 2 minutes remaining of the show today. I have to ask this because we talked about it earlier. NXT. The NXT champion is Braun Breaker. Braun's been on a hell of a run. It seems like since they went to NXT 2.0, it has been all Braun Breaker. That's what the people talk about. Fans, some of them seem to be souring a little bit to Braun Breaker, or he's getting a mixed reaction. What's your take on this, and how do you think Braun is handling it?
Braun seems to be handling it pretty well, but one piece of advice that I could give Braun Breaker is you might need to listen to the fans. You can't get complacent in this business and think that the fans are going to stick with you. And the one thing that you need to make it to that next level is the fans. The fans dictate everything. And the one thing with Braun Breaker is he's got like 1 year. He need to figure out, when he's riding in first, second, third, fourth, and when he need to shift it in the fifth. And that's something that, he's going to, right now in that mode to where he's learning that. Hopefully hear this interview and he'll go, Coach, what you mean by that? Because you got to be innovative in this business. You got to be able to give the fans a bone every now and then. You know what I mean? You got to be able to let them, smell, lift the pot a little bit and let them smell what's cooking up underneath. And the thing is, you got to be able to mix what's in that pot up on a weekly basis. You can't, if I'm just eating chicken, I'm gonna get tired of just eating chicken. I want some steak. All right. And if I just eat steak too long, I'm gonna get tired. Man, give me some lobster, man. I need some lobster. So you gotta know how to mix it up especially when you're champion.
Well, we'll see what happens for the future with Braun Breaker. We'll see what happens at the Elimination Chamber, Booker T. We're gonna have a hell of a show next week. We're on the road to WrestleMania.
Yeah, man, we got to get up out this mug, man. I want to thank everybody for stepping inside the Hall of Fame, getting your champagne wishes and caviar dreams coming to you always, guys, from ESPN 97.5, 92.5 with my man Brad Gilmore doing it like it's supposed to be done. Making all them suckers burn out to all the podcasters. That's all they do. That's all they do. But I want to thank all you guys for stepping inside the Hall of Fame as well, getting your champagne wishes, caviar dreams. Guys, next week, we out. Peace.
We ain't going.